Hello. All right. Welcome to Critical Conversations. I'm your host, Karissa Dean. And this week we have my beautiful, lovely, amazing friend, Mia, here, who is an incredible oracle that I have had the pleasure of not just intimate working with, but like watching her magic in real life. I want to say one thing before I turn it over to Mia to share anything else that I may have missed. I want to say the darkness in the world hates when Mia and I get together because shit goes sideways for a hot second and then shit explodes. So I have to say that is one thing that came to my mind this morning. I was like, oh shit, this is happening because Mia and I are about to get on a call. So I'm a little sniffly. Yeah, I'm a little sniffly today. But Mia, what else do people need to know about you and the work that you offer?
It's always very difficult and intangible to describe an oracle. The most current definition of myself I have is that I work with the quantum field consciously and tangibly.
Okay.
By that, I mean, I work in the field of like energetics. So, and how the energy interacts with your body. I often don't know what I'm doing before I do it. I often don't know what is going to happen before I do it. I am just very practiced in getting myself out of the way and letting whatever happens. I think that's it. Oracles come in a lot of different flavors too. And so if you have experience with one, you might not have experience with all of them. My magic is very much through my body. The way that I channel and the way that I heal and help is through my body. And yeah, that's it, I think.
Okay. I love it. Let me put my phone on DND because
I'm getting
too many notifications here. Okay. So really interesting. So I was asking Mia over the weekend, like, think about what you want to talk about. What are we going to dive into? Because Critical Conversations is really about an invitation to the table of things that are not being talked about that should be talked about. And when she came back to me and said, dude, we need to talk about this, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. And then immediately after you said that, my fucking neck started to hurt again. And I was like, of course it's hurting right now. And I was like, all morning, I've been like, okay, I just need to go sit in my chair and do my thing that Mia taught me how to do. And I like didn't have time. And then I like looked at the clock and I was like, okay, I have 10 minutes. And then I was like, wait, this is happening so Mia can showcase and share like in real time what you're capable of. Like, because what was it? 2 weeks ago, we had a call.
Yeah.
I got on that call and I was like, my fucking neck hurts so bad and I never have neck pain. Mm-hmm. And so it's like the exact same thing happening again. And I was like, fuck you, universe. You sneaky little bitch. I love you so much. Right. So anyways, so the first question I have for you is tell me like what, or you tell, like you start the conversation. Like, what is it that we need to be talking about that we're not talking about? Let's start there.
So what I sent to you in a message was the energetics of the human body. And this is like vast and broad, and we could talk about this for years, but I'm going to try to keep myself succinct. Basically, we all have a heart. Our heart beats and pumps blood around our body, yes, but it also creates an electromagnetic field around our body. And this is not like woo-woo or anything to do with witchcraft. Like it's actually the science of physics.
Yeah.
So this energy field that exists around our body, some people say it's like 4 feet on either side of you. Some studies say 6 feet. It's a bubble around you, is part of you. It's your energy body. It's your auric field. And it interacts with every other energy field that you come into contact with all day long. And it's also facilitates shifts. It's capable of impacting your actual physical form, like your physical health, how you feel in your physical body. And the studies that have been done, and these are studies that have been done a while ago, these are not even like the most current cutting edge studies, show that our DNA is expressed differently based on the energy that is applied to it. So this is like at the most basic fundamental level of the way your body works is impacted by energetics.
Okay.
The studies they've done are fucking wild. Like, so they would have a strand of DNA from a subject in a petri dish at one test site. Miles away in another lab, they would have a strand of the same DNA in a petri dish. And when the person held the petri dish in their hand and felt a certain type of way, like felt really stressed, so they showed them images of stress that would make you like think of things that would make you contract. The DNA strand actually contracted. But not only did this DNA strand here that they were looking at and holding in their physical presence, but instantaneously at the same exact time, no lag time at all, the DNA strand in the other facility miles away would contract.
Whoa. That's interesting.
And that, to me, that's like the best quick and dirty explanation of what the fuck we're dealing with here.
Wow. Okay, but like, no, I love this because we all wander around, right? And we've all had moments in our life where we're like, I just have a bad feeling, or like, right? Like we have, and I say the bad feeling because I think it's easier for people to identify. We notice the bad more than we notice the good, right?
Always.
But it's like that is just like a descriptor of like how connected we are, because in that moment when we're like having that bad feeling, 9 times out of 10 somebody in our DNA, like a mom, grandma, whoever, aunt, uncle, child, fuck, could be anything, right? Like, because who knows how connected we all are. We are weird in that way. This is interesting. Okay, so tell me more about how that impacts how we live.
Well, it really impacts how we live in basically any way that you can think of it. To me, it's this completely overlooked aspect of how we function as humans. And so, like, for example, your neck. When we initially addressed your neck, what we were talking about is this neck pain that you were saying was like inherited basically from someone else you're in close proximity to.
Yeah.
And so speaking to that, like that is the actual physical manifestation of that is like it's coming from somebody else's body, someone else's physical issue. And it feels like it's in your body because your energies are so closely intertwined.
Yeah.
So, just choked on some air. But
see what I mean? The universe is like, don't talk.
I'm surprised
this is what happens when Mia and I get together. Like the universe puts these weird fucking things because I really believe in the power of what you're talking about because I've experienced it. This is why this conversation is so fucking exciting to me. So keep going now that you have.
So I think really the main point is that we have not been educated on this. So again, there's an entire branch of science, physics. We all know physics exists. Like maybe we took a class or one in high school or something if you're advanced enough. And then we don't really think about it. And we think of physics, they teach us like the history of physics. So like relativity and Newton and Einstein and all of what they were learning forever ago. Not what we're currently fucking talking about now, which is that all the energy around us is impacting us all the time. And so I think that by understanding this, or at least hearing about it and then wanting to look into it more and exploring how it works within your actual life can change everything that you do. It's a whole other aspect of life that most people are completely ignoring. So when you get a neck pain, you're not just thinking, did I sleep wrong, or did I do some sort of physical movement that hurt myself? It's like, oh, well, where is the pain? Oh, it's in my neck. What could that be correlated to spiritually, emotionally? Who else around me might be experiencing something? Why are they experiencing it? And then you can look at healing that or moving that energy in a different way. Because most physical... The other aspect of it is everything is made of energy. So everything is a microcurrent of energy. Even it's something that we think is like solid, like the ceiling is solid. That's just the frequency that it vibrates at makes it a solid thing in this material world, which is like the quantum field. That's why I say I work in the quantum, because it's not just with the tangible things that like materialize into the physical world, but all of these other energies that are swirling around us all the time, that because we can't see them, we aren't paying attention to or interacting with or questioning or exploring at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can like tailor it back to like the basic sentence of like, you know, what you think about, what you know, are feeling is what you're creating. So like if you're thinking positive thoughts, you're creating positive vibrations, and therefore you are going to receive positivity, right?
Exactly.
So tell me what you believe is happening with the collective at large right now, because there's a lot of non-positive receptivity happening.
I think you're really going to get me started today. I think that's a huge way in which control and mass manipulation occurs. I think that mass media is a way, even social media now, let me not even say that, media of any sort is a way for you to be influenced and instantly taken into someone else's energy that they're experiencing. And now in this world where we are all interconnected, someone else's trauma that's happening to them across the world and you would have no idea, you are now like seeing in your face on a amateur cell phone video through Instagram, like you're seeing like the actual trauma that someone is living through, and then you yourself are absorbing that energy, and then you yourself are operating with that energy. Right. And it spreads like wildfire. Like, to me, this is like energetics is how we understand how these things happen. So collectively, we're all witnessing a trauma together, and then we're having all of the effects of that. So like, I was literally just, while we're doing nails, I was just watching this interview with a neuroscientist talking about a wide variety of different things, but how stress hormone, cortisol, when it's elevated in our body for a long, extended period of time, it has really detrimental effects on us. And now, because of the way in which we all perceive the world around us through the internet, we are having these high levels of cortisol in our systems all the time. And it's not the worst kind of stress for you is the stress that you perceive that you have no control over.
Ooh, say that again.
So the worst kind of stress for your physical body is the stress that you perceive you have no control over.
Wow.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about when you say we don't have control over it. Tell me more about what that means.
So let's go current events, right? This
Middle
Eastern conflict, this Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which like, the levels to it, okay? Yeah. I'm not even going to get into it, but this is an active trauma that we're all witnessing right now. Do you or I have any control over what happens in Israel or Palestine or the Gaza Strip? Not damn bit of control. But we are still witnessing all of the terror and the horror and everything that is happening there. So our bodies are registering this as life-threatening, bad, terrible event, the same way our bodies would have registered like a saber-toothed tiger jumping across my bed at me right now. But instead of there being a saber-toothed tiger that you run away from or eats you or what, you know what I mean? There's a stop.
Yeah.
It's a spike in cortisol. You like operate with the stress hormone cortisol to fight, flight, freeze, get into your whatever you need to do to save yourself, and then it's over. You're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and it's just constant stress, and it has nothing to do with you. It has absolutely nothing to do with you other than your phone.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
You just gave probably one of the most concise analogies of what social media does to us. And it's so fucked up, Mia, because it's a conversation I have a lot with my clients, because I'm like, you can't watch the news and feel good. You just can't. You can't, because you're a compassionate, loving human at your being. Like we all are, right?
Right.
And so, but what you're saying is that even if you're trying to make the cognitive choice of like, that's not mine, it still has impact.
Right. Because it's energy, and the whole world feeling something. Like, this is the other piece, is we're meant to be in community. Humans are tribal, social creatures. Like, we are supposed to be together. However, the way that works now, because we're not together for survival, the way that works now is that when one of the tribe is feeling something, then that energy is shifted to everyone else. And again, like evolutionary, we don't need that now, but at one point in time it served a great purpose. But so now we're all in community around the latest trauma or the latest tragedy or the worst thing that's happened. And you're feeling it and you're empathizing with these other humans because that's what your body is made to do. That's what you're going to do when you're around another human.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do?
I think that it is everyone's responsibility to educate themselves on this and fuck around with it. I don't think there is one answer. I'm firmly opposed to there being one answer for everyone. And I think that the different people need different things, and different people can do different things that will help them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different strategies that you can do to help regulate your nervous system. Your nervous system is also interacting with your energetic body or your auric field. So you can begin to start consciously interacting with it and being a conscious participant in the energetic field. Because even if you don't believe in this, like even if you're like listening to this and you're like, oracles are fake, I don't believe in magic, this is nonsense. There is the field of quantum physics to rely on and for you to look at. And this is happening to your body all the time. Even if you don't want to get into manifestation, like even, you know what I mean? Anything that might be considered slightly woo-woo to the most conservative of us. You have a body, and this is how your body works. Like, I really think the phrase that has been coming up for me the past couple of weeks is body technology.
Ooh, I like that. Tell me more.
Because I think if we work within this conceptual framework of we're a soul or a spirit in a body.
Yep.
Which I think a lot of us can like wrap our heads around. But it's almost like we talk about our body still as though it's just like a meat suit. Or it's like a trap. Like we're the soul and we're trapped in this human experience. And like it's hard to be human, but we're here. When in reality, we're wearing like fucking brilliant technology. Like this machine is like fully equipped to do anything you need it to do. However, we just don't know how to use it. Nobody ever gave us a user manual. They gave us like basic health education in middle school. And then we're like, you have a body. Goodbye. Good luck to you. So most of us have no conceptual framework for how any of this works. And so it feels like a trap. It feels like we're all just getting older and our bodies are deteriorating and we're dying. But it's because we're not using them correctly and we don't even know what they're capable of.
Oh my God. You're blowing my mind today. Yeah. You're blowing my mind today.
I'm really... We're in a little vortex here, Karissa. I like it.
We always are. I love it. Okay, so, it got me thinking when you were just talking about we get educated in high school on like basic health, but like definitely yeah, but that's the thing. It's like they basically educate you like if you break your leg, go to the hospital, right? Like if you're bleeding, call 911. Like you know, and they like maybe put a condom on a banana. But
and what did you say? If XYZ happens, call for help.
Yeah.
What they don't do is educate us on how this works so we can make an educated decision on what to do moving forward.
Exactly. Like, so this is my curiosity. So what are if we keep ourselves open-minded, right? Mm-hmm. And we're speaking to the larger collective, because you and I can sit here, we both fucking agree. There is a way that you and I can sit in community, whether it's virtual or in person, and we can work on raising the collective consciousness, because what we're doing when we sit and meditate and do this, right? Meta meditation, which I'm huge on, is what we're doing by doing that is we're taking our energetic bubble that is like made of purity, right? Because for years we're excavating and doing all this inner work, right?
Right.
And what we're doing is we're expanding our bubble and inviting this concept into other conscious awareness. So that's a little bit woo, and I will accept that I am woo, and I love that about me. And you don't have to love that about me.
I mean, maybe woo, but also like DNA strands aren't communicating with each other miles apart. So
this is my curiosity. What should people be talking about at home? Like, what is the conversation so that people, because really what we're talking about here is how do you live better in your body? How do you feel good in your body?
So there's two things. First, before I answer your question, one thing that came to mind that has been like so present for me. Hold on a second. I almost lost it. What were we talking about? We're talking about bodies. We're talking about energetics. We're talking about knowing what to do. We're talking about
education.
Safety. So you said that you expand your auric field and invite in. And I think that you are revolutionary in that statement, because there is so much rhetoric, specifically in conscious conversation, around there being like conscious and unconscious. I just watched a reel today that this woman was speaking to how she has gotten to a certain level in her healing that she just sees everybody's issues around her all the time. So she'll be having conversation and she'll be like, oh my gosh, mommy issues, oh daddy issues, oh narcissistic tendencies. And so she's created these boundaries, like strict boundaries, and she has a really small circle of people that she only interacts with because her energy is not to be in these situations. And this is just one human. I hear this all the time, and I see this all the time. And I am so passionate right now in this specific moment about reframing that in a fear paradigm. Because what you're saying is, because someone has not healed themselves or gone through all of this work that I've gone through, that they are dangerous in some way and must be kept away from me. Like a lack of consciousness is like contagious, which obviously as we're talking about these things, it is contagious. You don't need to be barriered from anybody. Like, come on over, let's chat. I have nothing to worry about or nothing to hide. I would love to chat with you and entertain your conversation and hear what you have to say. Fuck, your perspective might be one I never heard before. But that is fear. That is like recreating a patriarchal, colonial, capitalist system in the new system we're creating. Like, it's all this fear, like othering, like anything that distances you from someone else. Like a boundary is your own goddamn business. A boundary is for me to know what I'm here for and what I'm not here for. It has nothing to do with anyone around me. And I just think it's so important. Just the way you phrase that, I thought was so beautiful, because so many people are like, I must put up my walls, or I must guard myself. I have a teacher, my first mentor actually, who we have separated, we'll say, because it's just constant fear rhetoric, like how you need to guard yourself as a spiritual being and keep out all the dark entities and da 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 da. The darkness is like your reflection. Like everything around you is your own reflection. So that's your own darkness you're worried about, sis. And I'm sorry if that's scary. Some of mine is scary too, but it's still mine. You know what I mean? So I love that you said that. So I needed to highlight for a moment.
Thank you. Well, and I think, and let me just, before we get back to the question, I think it is like, and this is what I teach and this is what I value. If we're constantly saying, oh, you're too fucked up, I can't even look at you, like, oh, girl, you got problems, you know, and all we do is focus on the negative. Again, this goes back to like what we were saying at the beginning. If we're only focusing and seeing the negative in people, we don't even give them an opportunity to be in their potential. Exactly. And so what I have chosen, my mindset, is everybody has potential. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what has happened to you. Everyone has potential. And what I believe in is leaning in. This is the whole premise of this podcast. Lean into critical conversations. And by critical, I mean conversations that make you fucking uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Lean the fuck in because you might learn something. Exactly. Don't be so guarded because of your religion, because of how you identify, because of how you were raised, because of your beliefs, because you're bad and I'm good. Like, no, lean in and learn. You're not giving away anything. All you're doing is cultivating awareness and creating opportunity for the person on the other side of that conversation to become something greater. Because your ability to stand in your power with your boundaries, but have that conversation, gives them an opportunity to hear something that they maybe need to hear and otherwise would not hear because you're unwilling to open up.
Exactly. It's gatekeeping. And also, if the situation is being presented to you, then it's for you. So even if this person seems like something you don't want to deal with, there's something there for you too. Like just as much as you have this conversation or this opinion or this education that you could offer them, whatever they are going to reflect back to you is beneficial for you as well. It's only fear that's telling you anything otherwise, you know?
Yeah. So I think the original question, I feel like we are answering it though. We're answering it. It was, you know, where do we start or what are the conversations we need to have?
That's part of it. You know,
this is it. Yeah.
And I think, like learning about it so that we can teach our kids about it is also huge. And that's the hardest thing, at least for me in my life. That's one of the hardest parts for me is partnership and with Ronan. Because at least for me personally, my conditioning is so deep there that even though I like have this understanding of the world, being a mom, somehow still there's like my mom's voice or like some sort of societal mom's voice that I've created over the years that's judging me for raising my baby the way I raise him, or you know what I mean, encouraging his wild the way I encourage it. So that's the hardest part. But I think that if we can begin to explore this ourselves and be open enough to exploring it imperfectly with our children,
oh my God,
then that's how we actually change the world. And we don't have to like know everything and sit down with a whiteboard and write it all out for them. This is quantum physics. But exploring it together, because they are not conditioned by the bullshit. Right. At a certain age, they get to it. Right. I mean, and
I mean, hopefully.
And right. And I mean, I have a 4-year-old and he's still like, I don't know, we're doing public school and we're learning some things for sure. But exploring all of it together and seeing what they have to give to you. Because honestly, they are our best resource, especially children right now. We have very gifted children being birthed onto this planet right now.
Okay. quick question, because
Yeah.
you brought it up. So you brought up the fact that Ronan is going to public school, and that and I saw you go like this, and I know you're yeah. And I want you to talk about this, because this ties into everything that we've been talking about. You leaned into fear that you have around something that he doesn't hold the same vibration to. Tell me more.
So I have a 4-year-old. He is not just my child, but he is also my twin flame. And he and I are very, very deeply and intimately connected on every possible level. His birth, I would say, would be the marking point for my awakening and like progress to where I am now. The only reason I am here is because I had him, and that like instantly everything changed for me. So he's always my greatest teacher, and I was homeschooled until 3rd grade. And then I was given the choice to enter public school, and I did. And every year after that, I tried to come back home because I did not like it there. But my mom, at the time, you could only get a GED if you were homeschooled. And at that point in time, the school of thought was like my life would be over if I had a GED. Not at all what I believe now, but when I was being raised, I needed to have a high school diploma. So I did not ever want him to go to public school. I was going to homeschool him. I was going to pay even to go to his dad's. His father and I are separated, so he's 50-50 with both of us. I was going to pay for it 100% of the time so that he could do it at his dad's, so he would never have to go to school. And he chose to go to school this year. And his cousins are already in school, so he really wanted to go. And I told him no. Well, I told him that he could go to Head Start. I did a half step, because this program is in the school that my mom works at, and she knows the teacher and she thinks it's a good program. So I was like, okay, we'll do public school, but it will be in this controlled environment that I know about, or let me not even say that, has my mother's approval.
Yeah.
And then he kept saying, I really want to go to school with my cousins. And I realized that I was not actually giving him the freedom that is my driving force in everything that I do.
Yes.
And so I signed him up for school. And it's been so hard sometimes, but also like the coolest experience of my life. And it's really got me leaning into this, like letting our children lead us.
Yeah.
And co-creating with them, because in doing this, he has given me an opportunity for me to reparent myself. And I don't know if it's like this for everybody, because I don't know if every parent-child dynamic is the same, but because he and I are so similar, as he goes through these experiences, I'm witnessing it as my now adult self with my current perspectives. And my relationship with little Mia is flourishing. Like the safety that we feel, the communication that I have with her, like conscious reparenting of myself is possible because I have this reflection of this child who's going through this system and witnessing all of these things the same way that I did when I first went to school. And the way I internalized it was like very painful and very traumatic. And like I was an outsider because I had been homeschooled. So I was like celebrated for my tiny little strange oracle book reading self. And then I got to public school and everyone else who'd been going through the appropriate conditioning was like, what are you doing here, weirdo, with your penny loafers? And I was like, what do you mean? These are my prized possession. I love these penny loafers.
Right.
And so I took it all as I was wrong, learn how to be like these people. But now I can witness him, and he, because he's not me, is just like, these people are so weird. He comes home every day and is like, do you know they have a rule that you can't jump in a school? Who would ever tell kids that? He's like, but I figured out a way. I can jump on the stairs if I'm sneaky enough. And
Oh my God, I love him.
which I love so much.
Yeah.
But like it's given me this completely other perspective, and it's not ruining him. It's not ruining his life. But when I was holding this vision in my head that public school is bad, public school is going to ruin my child, he's going to be depressed, he's going to be sad, he's going to be lonely, he's going to think he's a freak, and all of the beautiful, unique things I've like nurtured in him all these years will be taken away because he'll be destroyed. It's not that at all. I was creating that situation by saying that entire list of things that I just said to you. I was creating the fear mucked back to me in that situation. So that I don't need to protect him from public school. Right. I need to look at my fear and get more intimate with my fear and see what my fear is actually saying to me versus limit his opportunities to experience the world based on my own fear.
I mean, me and I could keep going, but I'm really mindful of time. I really think that the conversation, we can have this again. We can go in depth. So I would love for people to know how they can find you and have more conversations with you. So where is it that you are most populated?
Social media is probably the easiest way to find me. My handle is Anomalia Mia. It's like Anomaly A and Mia, MIA. And yeah, I am all about conversation and perspective gathering. The more humans I talk to and the more humans experience that I can experience myself through them, the greater my worldview is. And so I am just here for any and all connection. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. And I think, the powerful takeaway that I'm going to walk away with, which is something I think I've been practicing, but really it's where in life am I projecting my fear and limiting the potential of others, not just with children. We do this with our partners. We do this with our parents. We do it with ourselves mostly, right? So I think, food for thought. And where am I projecting?
Every time that fear comes into the equation, just that little DNA coil just tightens. It's actually called the DNA cramp. Your DNA gets a cramp when you scare it.
Nobody likes cramps. Nobody likes cramps.
Not even your DNA.
All right, Miss Mia, thank you so much. I love you. I can't wait to have you back and keep having conversations. I'll make sure everyone can find you. We'll get your info in the bio, and I'll talk to you soon.